see real quick.
Yeah, what you gonna see?
I just want to see once soul hits next. I mean, this is how I look at how far along you are in a book.
I know. I looked at that. I look at that a lot, and that reminds me of being a kid. But this one's misleading too, because the back, however long, is the study guide.
Oh, you're right. Okay,
So it's only 4 more chapters after Soul.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Don't
this
mess
is
around,
all
read a
there is.
book.
This centerpiece is all there is left.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good, baby.
This book flies by.
Yeah.
Until it gets to souls.
Okay, this Souls chapter really lands for me. It helps my personality understand how personalities can have greater or lesser levels of influence in the world, and that does not make people better than other people, which like I was deeply conditioned into a belief system of like better than, less than of human beings, as I think many people who listen to this might relate to. And this chapter opens up a possible conversation. I think maybe you'd like to take it this way, where it asks us to consider that your soul, this great light, puts a cup in the ocean that is your soul, and that cup of ocean water is you as a personality, and you are here with even the makeup of your personality. Let's say like your IQ level is what it is for a reason that's going to serve your soul's learning. Your height, your attractiveness, your size, your family structure, all of those put you in a structure and have your sphere of like I forgot what it was from last chapter. Yeah, your sphere of influence, like basically like your karmic power, your karmic ripple effect. All that is like set at a certain level for you to come in here and have the experiences and options to exercise your will that are going to serve you in the highest way. So me being empowered with that understanding, it's like, oh, for real, the person who I perceive has nothing and has no friends and has no impact in the world is not better than the person who's famous all over TV, millionaire.
You mean it's not less than?
What did I say?
Better than.
Oh, cool. Well, yeah, it's not less than, Oprah. It's not less than, anybody. Nobody's better than or less than anybody, because our soul has set up this situation for us to get in here and do the human thing and
do the human.
Do the human. So, yeah, so that's what I pull out of this chapter. One of my main things. Oh, is that how you're getting? Is that how you're getting? Okay, well, let me get ready to do some heavy lifting.
I told Chris all I was going to say on today's episode is,
Yeah, that's fine. Y'all, welcome to the Chris Wilson Show. So I'm going to talk to y'all about souls. I want to give y'all a quote because I just gave you my synopsis thinking it was going to be a conversation, but...
My bad. I need to be spoon-fed today.
Okay. Therefore, it is possible to speak of evolving beyond karma as the Buddhas do. So the Buddhas refer to the earth, to the human experience and how is this set up, which is with free will, choice, placed between faith and doubt, good and evil, between the choices and dualisms that our species has created. It is karma that they are referring to, not the karmic patterns that cease to be once you, as a soul, no longer require learning in the world of duality. So, does that give you anything?
Uh-huh.
Wow. Within the human species, there exist degrees of soul consciousness. Not all humans are equally aware of their souls. Therefore, do all human beings have equal potential? Yes and no. This question is complex. It cannot be answered simply because among souls that are on the same frequency band, such as those within the Earth School, there is a common quality of consciousness, yet there is a difference between their ranges of consciousness. An individual that is not quite as expanded in his or her awareness is not equal in the sense that we usually mean equal to someone of greater awareness. There is an inequality, yet it is not an inequality that remains unequal. It is just a temporary level of momentum in the flow of evolution.
That, I got something.
You know, let me tell y'all what makes my personality mad is that I basically said this same thing in the beginning of this, but I didn't get no. But now I read page 172, paragraph 3, and now she's impressed. What do you have?
What I have is that Gary talks about this at the beginning of the book, and it's really the whole book, is that we're all on the path of evolution. We're all going to get.
We can't not get there.
Yeah, we all are going to get there. There's no.
Whether this is the life or whether we need 100 million more.
No soul left behind.
No soul left
We're
behind.
all going to get there. And it's going to take some people on the path of pain for a while. Some people will jump into the path of love. We're all going to get there. And in reading that, I can relate to, or like, I'm glad he said that, yes, there's, I don't remember the wording, but like momentary discrepancies in
a temporary level of momentum in the flow of evolution.
Yes.
That's dope. What
yeah. And it's not like, oh, because I can see where I have learned something you haven't yet, or evolved on from a containing perspective or separate perspective, like, oh, I'm better than you. And I think it helps. I know it helps me in feeling like what I'm seeing in the world is being validated, in that, like, you couldn't get me to agree that like everyone right now is at the exact same place in the evolution march.
Right.
I would be like, well, that's just not true.
It's not true. Yeah, it's not. It's not. I love that. And I like how you just brought in, like, yeah, it is validating that there are some things that somebody knows about that another person doesn't know about. And there are some people whose personalities are smarter than other personalities. Like, that's really actually true.
There's some people who are actively, consciously stealing from people all the time.
And when we think of it as like a flow of like, it's bigger than this life. It's like, oh yeah, now the perspective has shifted.
Yeah. What I can also get down with is like what that person is doing. Let's say, because I'd rather do an example where I'm the evolved one and someone else isn't. Let's say what that person is doing. Yes, it's on my personal level. I've evolved past that at some point. I'm no longer stealing. And I can get down with too that's I'm not separate than them. So the work I do in categories, like we talked about in last episode, will impact and pull them forward. And they'll do work for me that also moves me forward. So I can get down with, it's not like separate runners in this race in totality. And we're serving different functions right now, and there's an ebb and flow that's a little.
There's an ebb. Yeah. And like the person who's showing up that we perceive is not nice, they might have been that dude the last life around. And this life, they need to be not shit to learn those lessons.
I got something.
Yeah.
Gary talks about in this chapter how souls can also hit that, like, through choice. They can have those just like knock it out of the park soul evolution runs, where if it was, he says something like, they chose the things, the paths, they made this unique decisions that led them through a pretty narrow but present opportunity to exponentially evolve. That was like,
that gets me fired.
I know it does. That was always there, but could have very easily been missed. And they still evolve. They're still on the path of evolution, but it's like, it's that breakthrough life experience.
Yeah, I think it's like, okay, here's a path how your soul can ascend the quickest, and it's going to take a lot of choosing love, a lot of courage, a lot of discernment, a lot of not being swayed by inputs and opinions that are not your knowing and not your intuition. And
a lot of surrendering.
Yeah, a lot of patience, a lot of not looking for credit.
A lot of maybe not getting what you want on a external level.
And within that maze, within that web of reaching for love, reaching for knowing, reaching for good, there exists this super accelerated path. And it's like still accelerated to where? Because the path is endless, but...
Well, yes. Is the path endless? I don't know. And he does mention that eventually the soul, the individual soul, will evolve out of the physical realm of learning. Well, that it will no longer be necessary that it is learning on the physical. So then it may become a guide.
Yeah.
A light being, a guide for another physical. An angel.
And I thought it was really interesting, his take, to hear how basically like we evolve past karma. We evolve past, I don't know if I read it when I was reading earlier, but there's also something in the chapter about, maybe it's in the angel realm, like angels don't experience fear. Like that fear is at a denser level that you evolve past. So, I mean, that's exciting to me.
Yeah, you know, he talks about karma being of the physical world. It's a learning of the physical world, and it's just not needed in the next level of light beings. It's just like, I imagine gravity is just of the physical world.
Yeah.
Gravity and karma. Get it while you're here.
Get it while you're here. Let me see what else I can lob up for you.
Okay. I like when you make these podcasts, like just interviewing me.
I love you, babe.
I know you do.
Okay. All right. Let's see what you think about this. We seek to cure dysfunctions of the body by controlling its environment at the molecular level. Page 174. In other words, our approach to healing is based upon the perception of power as external. This type of healing can be helpful to the body, but it does not and cannot heal at the level of the soul. Consider that those who are trained in this way, who are accustomed to learning about life through the study of dead matter, they seek to learn of life through the study of carcasses and corpses. Through the study of that which does not have spirit, how can they see spirit? Even as such minds look out into this vast galaxy, they cannot see life because they are convinced that the entire galaxy does not have life, except as they see it and identify it. So the life forms and the brothers and sisters that we have on other galaxies remain hidden and will remain hidden until the basic premise that life is and permeates all that is, that there is only life, becomes the principle of what we call science. Then we will explore the physics of the soul. Then we will study life with life and not dead matter, and not try to breathe intelligence and purpose into it by taking apart in our laboratories human forms and animal forms. This will be seen someday as a very primitive form of learning because there is no consciousness there.
Yeah. Can you imagine being like someone in Gary's family, in his life, in his sphere of everyday contact, where he's just like, hey, let me read you this thing I just wrote. And it's just like, yeah, Gary.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, respect to the dude.
Yeah.
Like it's like words are a tool. Words are not everything. And so like Gary is highlighting that these things, a lot of those ways of studying, look, they saved our daughter's life. So I'm not about to down know what we've learned until now. You know, they got us what we got until now. And I can hold that and know that this, like, on the one hand, like the mindset of a clear, honest, scientific approach, that is a really noble standpoint where it's like, I don't say anything exists until okay, like, just look at the stars and think about this vastness that is within me. And like, are we really having a conversation in any point? Like, could there be life elsewhere than Earth? Or like, could there, does what we think and feel affect the diseases that accumulate or don't accumulate in our body?
There's a time and place for all of it, is what I think. To give the viewers some more story on Saved Our Daughter's life. When I was pregnant, I went to get checked out. I was 6 months pregnant. It was like an emergency appointment that I set because I was leaking clear fluid. And I went in there, and if the nurse had said to me, well, honey, what types of thoughts have you been thinking recently? And how is your light? And do you find that you're often considering anger as the best response to things? I would have been like, like, I needed somebody to get down into the minutia of biology with me. And
well, and you didn't get that.
Well,
either.
And I didn't get that either because I got sent off with like, no, you're fine, and you're probably not leaking clear fluid, and we're not going to check your cervix to see if you're dilated at all because we don't want to mess with you. And you go home. It's your first pregnancy, and then 24 hours later, I deliver at 27 weeks, and then Sky's medical journey begins, and our family's spiritual evolution through that process of the NICU and the opportunities to grow that we got in that. And so I think there's a time and place for all of it. And what I hear in what you just read from Gary is that there is something missing in, like, my own beliefs here. I don't believe that you can consistently embody anger and be healthy physically. And what I mean by embody anger is you're thinking thoughts of anger, you're feeling the physical impact of anger within your body. And that's like, in some teachings, that's one of the karmas of anger immediately, is just by bringing it up in yourself. You're subjecting yourself to this inner fire and violence that does damage on the physical level. So yeah, I don't believe that you can be angry and be healthy. And I'm sure there's plenty of people who are resenting people in their lives and have been for years and are going to the doctor and saying, I'm shitting blood. And I don't have the answer to how we create a new medical system that the doctor says, who have you not forgiven?
Well, I think like the next step in what you and I are working for is like making this knowledge, this knowing of soul, mind, heart, body. It's not like different areas of study. It's integrated. And so I think like as humans continue to heal and evolve and grow, like this knowledge becomes normalized.
Yeah.
So that, and I think right now, like we're in a phase where a lot of times is one like in the spiritual realm, when you step into a belief system of considering chakras or considering aura energy or considering stress patterns, and when you consider those, because it's like, it's almost like it comes with this, and I've seen it. It comes with this, oh, I need to adopt a whole persona about it, and I need to adopt this whole like way of being around these beliefs. And what I'm excited for us to get to is like, no, it's like, let's normalize the consideration of the soul. Let's normalize the consideration of karma and the habitual thought patterns that are making you angry or making you stressed out or making you sad. And like, I believe that sort of like initial birth of a thought, of a belief structure in any realm, I bet that it's often been normal in human history for things to be leading edge. And it's like, oh, I believe that, like, it's my whole personality now. I'm special now. And I think that, like, kind of different than what Gary says in this chapter. I don't know what he believes, but kind of different than like making science where you can do tests on the body. Rather than considering that as primitive, I think we integrate that, like, because I don't think they're two separate things. And I guess I kind of went off on this too, like believing in the energy systems and stuff. Like, I'm ready to see us all jump past that being like it's just something cool to make a thing about. Like, let's just get to where it's like, yeah, that's happening.
Yeah. I've noticed when I really get on one, sometimes during these podcasts, I start to look at Key. Like, I want to like talk to him too. We need to get a camera on him soon. So
yeah, I like to look at him too, because when we rolling, he
gets in it.
Yeah.
He gets in it. All right. You didn't say you wanted this in the world, but let me tell you what I don't want. And I don't believe it's coming, but here's what I don't want. In an integrated system, I don't want, because I don't think this could work, a user's manual we create that's like, okay, people come into the earth and we start teaching them, all right, here's all the lessons you need. Here's the lessons in physicality. Here's the lessons in spirituality. Here's like, we'll just all never agree on what goes in that book because there's so much you could learn about as a human. What I've found for me is I have a lot of comfort and a lot of sense of like, I can do this work, this light work, in the perspective that the students who are ready for it are going to find it and they're going to learn it. And we're all evolving. So like teaching yoga, for example, yes, on some level, I would love everyone to be studying the stuff I'm studying, having the discoveries I'm having, being in the programs we're offering here. And there's nothing about, and I'm grateful, there's nothing about my experience of this lifetime of teaching parts of this whole, just like one little part of the whole, that I'm like, oh, I got to get out there and catch everybody with this. I'm like sitting there like whoever walks in this door, it's like, great, you're the student for this right now. And if you're not here, then you're not the student for it right now. And for me, trusting that evolution that life school offers people, the lessons that they're ready for when they're ready for it, is like, I just have to go up and give what intuition is telling me to give.
You embody a trust of the process so beautifully.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you embody a worldview. You embody an outlook and way of behaving as I watch how you move, that like you're very in a trust that like things are shaken out how they're supposed to be shaken out. And so you don't like the need to go teach the whole world yoga can be laced with fear. And it can be laced with like infusing a sense that something is wrong, infusing a sense that something is gone off and they're gone off track. And so to watch how, you know, whether it's something that you and I are scheming on in the business realm of like what impact we can bring to people into the world. Like I always see you in the coolest way, like not wear any like needing things to be a way because something's wrong. There's a naturalness that I think I don't know, I'll let you talk about it more, but what I see is like a receptiveness to like, you get that, oh, it's not about how many yoga or meditation students. It's about like, as you said, who comes in the door is supposed to come through the door. That's what it's about. It's not about like quantity or whatever.
I think, thank you for all those great acknowledgments.
You're welcome.
I think in terms of navigating life, I kind of lost my thought, but I'm bringing it back in real time. We talked about this the other day, or maybe we talk about it often, flow state and getting into something that we're doing and getting into it in such a way that like it's meditative or nothing else matters, and just that like heart committed. I feel like for life, for me, there's been so much relief, but it's really like so much me being held when I'm willing to be in heart-centered, acting fully on what's in front of me. And that shows up with teaching yoga. It shows up with being in here at Kali and making decisions with you about this business. I have, and maybe one day I'll play this back if I'm like, I need that hit of knowingness and like intuitive aligned seat I have in this very moment. I might play this back for my future self, but I really have no fear that I'm not going to live out my life's purpose and be of service in the ways that I'm called to be, because of however it got there, a part of my soul knows so deeply that it just requires me to be fully engaged with whoever is in front of me and whatever I'm doing. And so it's such a gift to be working somewhere where people just walk in the door who want to learn what I'm teaching. And my only job right then is to be with them and for them. And it's a pretty amazing thing.
In that space of being in flow, being so immersed in time with you, being so immersed with our daughter, being so immersed in a conversation, so immersed in making art. Like a lot of times the intellect is, when the intellect creates like what's not there and the plan to get there, to go teach 170, 80 million people yoga, the intellect is trying to create an external scenario that it believes would bring forth flow state. And so in that like beautiful way, in this like so like this is so relieving to my brain.
I thought you were gonna do your
I know. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it this time. I do it. It's such a relief that to get everything I want be right here, right now. Mm-hmm. And I'm still learning that, because you have seen me go plan some stuff.
Yeah,
and
you have seen
me. You have seen me. You've seen me get lost in the pursuit of the future and the pursuit of what's not here. You've seen me. You've seen me think of something, work so hard to create it or make it or get it, and then get it and be like, fuck it. You know, so yeah, so I'm still learning that one, and thanks for modeling it the way you do. But
You're welcome. You're welcome. I feel like we have this opportunity to learn through business too, as a great teacher of that, because I've seen, and we could like pull out stats and numbers, and like I've really seen when we are open to what the world offers us to do, and we do that wholeheartedly, the impact, the ripple out of that financially, fulfillment wise, team wise, all of those things is so much higher than when we have gone and like grasped for something and decided that we know what it is for us to do. And like, we know in that like smaller personality, lower self, intellectual knowing, like there's this container we get to work in has taught me through, it's almost like experimental, like here's your outcome when you move this way through love and intuition and faith and trust and sacred guidance and knowing and patience. Here's your outcome. Or then here's what happens when you move through external power, striving, forcing, what I mean by manipulating is like trying to make what is not here happen from a shadowy intention. Like,
and I could even,
here's your outcome.
I could even like make it like less negative, just from like getting in the intellect and the forecasting and the figuring. Like even that too gives those hollow fruits, if it gives fruits at all. And I see that our business and a conversation that is super engaging, they both have this quality of like being in collaboration with the present moment. And like hearing what life has to say, feeling what the moment has to give, and what like decisions that we've made in the business, a lot of times have been the same dynamic that's at play whenever I'm talking to somebody, but I plan what I'm going to say back 10 seconds before they're done speaking. It's like, once I say that statement, it's no longer real anymore. That thought came through 10 seconds ago, but I held on to it.
Yeah.
And now when I launch it, it's not really, really there. And that feels like the same thing as like when we're like, this is what needs to happen in the business. And, you know, versus like that whisper of being told, or the vision of seeing in the now. And yeah, when we move from the now and that heart open, eyes open, good things happen here, and it is a great teacher.
Yep. Thanks, y'all, for watching. Come take a yoga class, will you please? Thanks.